Bore Prenhanda Chroeso. Welcome to the final game of the Bagration Attrition of War linked campaign. So this is mission 5 Bridgehead. This follows the Bagration linked missions. You'll see from the next few slides some of the regiments are starting to look a bit ropey, and some units couldn't purchase the heavy weapons that they might have normally used in these games. Okay, so for the Soviet regiment, basically the bulk of a shock rifle battalion was brought back using the reserve points. Engineers were intact, but over poor performances from them, the rifles have been brought in, and basically all the tanks that are left have been thrown in for the final assault, and some scout cars and some command cars have been bought as well. In regards to infantry, the Germans looking pretty good, easily able to field company, but with points being spent on the Speverband, which is good in these situations for reserves, not have the points to buy back the heavy 88s, so we'll have to make do with the Pak 40s, doing the big anti-tank killing until the other tanks come back on. Marders also having to be purchased as well, having lost them, so points are down to bite the Germans on not the infantry but the equipment they're using, so this was fun to do. So here's today's mission. Standard mission you'll find in the gaming book. Quite a good one. Not much room for the Germans to deploy in, so quite a castle thing going on here, and the Soviets able to charge down on the flanks. So minefields are going to have to be carefully placed on this one, and the reserves are also scattered, delayed as well, so it could be costly if you roll poorly. Okay, so here we have the Soviet list. So again, the Hero Shock Rifle Battalion, led by their HQ with the 2 SMGs. We then have 2 full platoons of 13 rifle teams with their commissar and equipped each with 1 flamethrower team. We also have the 120 centimeter mortars and the 82 centimeter mortars. And we also have the Hero SMG company equipped with a flamethrower, and we also have a commissar, so there's 7 teams there, and that is the formation, the Hero Shock Rifle Battalion. That has been dragged together by this commander for the final assault on the German lines. Over here we have the support, so we have 9 T-34 76s, and then we have 7 T-34 85s. So these are just regulars, these aren't the veterans. We also have 3 scout cars, which I believe are making their debut, and 4 Katyushas, which are also making their debut. And to help them out, we also have an OP. So in command cards, we have a Partisan Raid. So this is going to be helpful since Richard's bringing his reserves on. Make you unluck, because why not? And then Reconnaissance by Combat, just to help get stuff in that template for that first turn to get that repeat bombardment being a bit more effective. And that's it. So let's have a little look at deployment. Okay, so here we have the German list. It is an armoured grenadier company, again as with the theme with this campaign, 20th Division. So we have a HQ with his half-track, and then we have 2 full platoons with their half-tracks, and yes, because it's Bagration book, they all have Panzerfausts. All this section is in formation, so we have 2 grills, we have 2 machine gun teams with their half-track, 6 armoured 7.5 centimeter guns known as the Stummels, 4 armoured 8 centimeter mortars, 3 Pak 40s, and 4 Panzer IVs that can go into the formation as well. So nice strong formation here. In support we have 3 Marders, 2 Pumas, and we have the Speverband, which is here, which is a command card. So let's have a look at the command card. So we have the Speverband, like before, we've been using Pak Front for the Pak 40s, and then obviously the
20th Panzer Division NCO shortage. And that's it. So let's look at the Soviets.
Here's today's battlefield again using the mission matrix terrain generator. So we've got a rail line going down, and this is an embankment. You might just about be able to make up it raised up. Swamp in the top left corner, and just a few trees. That's just a stream going through the middle, so no cross checks required. It will just be a terrain dash because it's pretty shallow. So not so many buildings on this one, just the farm complex, and as you can see, the Germans already have selected the bottom of the table to be their deployment zone, with the Soviets attacking from the top. Oracle of Battle time. My wife Jen has selected the Germans to be the victor today. We're still unable to figure out the best way to get my son Reese to pick a winner. Most times I've gone up, he's been asleep. So maybe it'll take a few more months before we can get some wisdom out of him. So until then, Jen is just about clinging on to the title of Oracle of Battle. She got the last one wrong, so she gets this one wrong. She's on thin ice, shall we say. So hopefully Reese will be able to pick up the slack at some point.
Okay, we have deployment in the grey corner. We have Herr Richard with his 20th Division, so scattered around the table along this embankment. You might just be able to see it is slightly raised up, so everything behind this is basically treated as one long hill but with a bit of terrain on the top there. It's not going to be a cross check, but we'll slow stuff down. So we have the pack split up around the woods, and there's the other one right on the edge of the deployment. The MGs are in the centre with the grills, the other 8cm mortars back here, and then we have 1st platoon, 2nd platoon, all with their half tracks, and then we have the Sparrow band right by here. And then in the red corner we have Comrade Sherry. So she's done a spearhead down this flank, so unfortunately Richard did place his minefield, so there was a little gap for the scout cars to go through. So that is basically as far as the T-34 76s could go down, being 8 inches away from the first scout car. SMGs are deployed in the first minefield so they can clear it, and then we've got everything here: 1st company, 2nd company, the HQ, and the other T-34s. Up on the hill we have the OP, so you can see pretty much along this side of the battlefield, and then we have the Katyushas in the woods, the heavy mortars in the middle, and then we have the small mortars on that little flank as well, so putting them in range of pretty much everything. So we do have one little thing to resolve, and we'll see how it goes, because Sherry can reposition one of her ranged in markers, so we'll do that now. Okay, so it was reconnaissance by combat. So basically, Sherry moved the B mortars, so that's the 120mm mortars. It was further back, only just clipping one pack 40, so now it's in the middle of the river, clipping both, and a few members of 1st platoon. So that is the pre-game rituals done, and now we go into Soviet turn 1. Good luck both.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, so we have done the movement. The T-34s have all moved up, everything tactical. The scouts have popped around as well. This minefield has been popped. This tank is just outside the mines, and the SMG company moving forward. Everyone's moving forward, just staying outside danger close for the Katyusha battery by here. So it's the shooting phase. So well, let's see if this devastating bombardment can kill some stuff. And then we've got the guns of the Red Army here as well.
These are very nice. I'll have to stop buying these.
The jelly beans are going down well, everyone. So artillery didn't do much, but pinned pretty much everything they needed to pin. All the packs are pinned, all the infantry platoons, the Sparrow band are pinned. The only unit not pinned are the MGs and the HQ, but they're in their half tracks. And then the T-34 85s managed to take out the pack front with the use of the Make Your Own Luck card, which is probably player of the tournament for the Soviets, I would say. These guys did pepper the pack with MGs just to pin it, which they did anyway. So that is it for the Soviet turn. Now they go into German turn 1. Okay, German motivation, Sparrow Band did not unpin and first platoon did not unpin. Ambush is not coming in and reserves aren't coming in. So what are the Germans going to do? A lot of things that they need to sort out quite quickly. So we'll see what happens in the movement phase. Okay, German movement, not a lot. First platoon have mounted up since they're already pinned and have had to move backwards because there's Soviets on the left, Soviets in the front, and Soviets on the right, so you can't move towards enemy units when you're pinned. Maybe double check that when they're in transport. I'm sure someone will know. And then the HQ has moved across. It's just a stream, so it's just a terrain dash. So he's moved over to bolster the spirits of the German defenders over here with the onslaught that is coming. So, German shooting. Okay, so German shooting, they were already ranged in on the mortars, so it was rude not to, but he didn't kill any, but got them pinned. This pack, who can't really see anything over here, took a shot at the 82cm mortars, 120cm mortars, and actually hit one, but Sherry passed the save. One T-34 has been downed over here, and you can see some gaps appearing in Soviet lines due to MGs and artillery, and a couple of the SMG company got taken out, and all the infantry companies over here are pinned. So hopefully some of these will rally at least next turn for the Soviets. Obviously nothing to assault this turn, so we're going into Soviet turn 2. Okay, so down in this corner, all infantry units have unpinned, so the advance will continue, but the 82cm mortars have not unpinned. So we go into the movement. Okay, so this is where the Soviet horde ended up. Oh, pretty much all the infantry did follow me along with the scouts. The tanks just did a tactical. Actually, only did 10-inch moves, so you know what's coming. Yeah, that. So that was it. So the artillery is going to have to range in elsewhere, so especially danger close from the Katyushas. So we'll see what happens. Okay, Soviet shooting. Sherry tried to range in the Katyushas here to catch the packs and the infantry. Didn't range in. The other mortars managed to pin both, but no kills. And then the T-34s, two of them who were going to this guy, he was within 8 ranges, and she got rid of him. So that's the T-34-85 is getting rid of 2 packs now with re-rolling firepowers. The other T-34 managed to get rid of half track, and these guys just hosed down this infantry. A lot of MG shots equating to only 5 actual hits, 3 failed saves, but no past firepowers, unfortunately. But we are going into an assault phase. T-34 madness onto a Sparrow Band and to second company, so they do have Panzerfausts, but that is it. So let's see what happens. Okay, so in the assaults, the T-34 85s, they lost a tank going in, but they killed quite a few of second company and pushed them back. And then the Sparrow Band were up next. They only managed to bail one of the tanks, and then they got pushed back themselves after losing quite a few guys actually, down to 4, the Sparrow Band, and this also pushed the HQ back and the MG and the MG's half track as well. So there's a little bit rough now. They're on the objective, the Soviets, and that's the tanks. But what about the infantry wave coming in? They're going to be hitting very soon, so it's almost like the red tsunami coming in. So that is Soviet turn 2 done, and now we're into German turn 2. German turn. The MGs have not unpinned. Second company didn't unpin. First company still haven't unpinned. Oh, we haven't rolled for the pack yet. It's kind of irrelevant because he's not doing anything. But the Sparrow Band has unpinned. Richard got 1 unit in from reserves, but Sherry made him re-roll it, but then he had 2, and the Panzer IVs ended up here, and the Marders ended up in this corner, so they have driven to here to get some arse shots on the T-34s. So the T-34s could drop down quite rapidly now, but we'll see what happens. So we'll go into German movement and see what happens. Okay then, so movement for Richard. These guys not really anywhere to go because they can only move backwards. They've stayed with put. And then Richard has tried to dig in with everyone over here, so the Sparrow Band have dug in. These guys failed to dig in, and the MG that got pushed back because of the assault has dug in as well. So is this going to be a good plan? It's all down to the Panzer IVs and maybe a Panzerfaust here, otherwise he won't be able to keep on the ground. So we have German shoot-in turn 2. Okay, so German shooting, 1 T-34 dead, 2 bailed thanks to the Panzer IVs, and 1 more dead from the Marders. Artillery is ranged in again, pinned both companies with minimal losses, but no hits on the HQ. So we're going into Soviet turn 3. Alright, so Soviet motivation. Sherry always says she's got a really unlucky dice. She passed every single motivation first time there. All the tanks are back in, all the infantry unpinned, and even the mortars added bonus are back in. So I don't know where this unlucky thing is coming from, Sherry. Right, yeah. Shrug shoulders. So here we go into movement phase. Quite a few units contesting the objective. 2 of the Panzer IVs, the MG is contesting it, and a couple of the Sparrow Band are also contesting as well. So it's about the Soviets shunting their way forward and getting them off. Okay, Soviet movement. Yeah, there we go. It's looking like that now. So infantry just ignoring the Marders. Maybe the artillery can have a go at them. So yeah, let's see how it goes in the shooting phase. Soviet shooting. The Katyushas tried to range in over here because everything's too close over here. They didn't range in again, so we've already had the 1 good turn of them. So poor Soviet debut for them. All the other mortars ran as ranging first time for once, which is awesome, which is really good because these guys weren't dug in, leaving with just 2 guys left. And all the guys who could help out with a cheeky Panzerfaust are no longer there. And we've only managed to bail out 1 Panzer IV, which is blocking really defensive fire if an assault goes in on these guys. So that's not great either. So yeah, it's down to the assaults for the Soviets. So this could be game, but can Richard hold them off? Fingers crossed. Okay, so end of the assault. The T-34-85s took out the Sparrow Band for a loss of 1 T-34 dead, 1 bailed, but then that did push back the MGs, unfortunately. So they were not able to be assaulted by the other T-34. So at the moment, these Panzer IVs are still contesting. Well, this guy is just on 4 inches, so it is a round 3 for the Germans. Okay, German motivation set. Richard's done really well. Ambushers come on, because they're in terrain they can be 4 inches away from enemy units, which they are. So the T-34-85s, this might be the end of them this turn. So the T-34-76s are going to have to hold on against the Panzer IVs and Marders when they do move. So Richard might have just pulled this game back from the jaws of defeat, although first platoon over here is not rallying and second platoon has run off the board. And the MGs have rallied as well, but pack front again, not rallying. And the Pumas have come on in this corner, so it's going to be scout on scout action, but I do fancy the Pumas are going to win this battle. So yeah, still lots to do in German movement turn 3. German movement.
A little bit better now.
German movement, and we've had a few FUBAs. So basically the Panzer IVs did a blitz move because Richard wanted them all to get onto the objective, and they failed, so they've moved anyway. And then the Grills tried to do a blitz move to get into the arse of the T-34s, and they failed, but so have moved. The MGs then also failed their dig in, so skill tests are not great. So he didn't blitz the Marders in the end. And then the HQ was backed up just to get into reroll command range for the pack, and the first platoon that just have not rallied all turn. All game. So we're going into German shooting, and this yeah, bye bye T-34s probably. Okay then, so as you can see here, there are Soviet tanks remaining. Somehow the T-34-85s withered 12 shots from the Stummels. Only 1 died, 1 bailed, and 1 got bailed again, but he managed to remount. Artillery did good, they managed to pin down the 2 companies and the HQ again, but it's these T-34s getting back in next turn. That's going to be the problem for Richard, because it's only, was it 3 of the Panzer IVs contesting the objective, and there's an 85 on the hill. Oh no, so let's see what they can do in Soviet turn 4. Okay, so in terms of morale, Sherry only failed 2 and I was in a 76 and 185. So it's been pretty good morale rolling for the Soviets. So now they need to get rid of these pesky Panzer IVs and move on the way to Berlin. So it's not pretty, but it is a Soviet assault getting ready. So 3 of the T-34s have moved round to the arse of these Panzer IVs because they're nice and squishy on the flanks. And the other T-34s are holding their ground. One of the 85s have made it onto the ridge to add its weight of fire. And the SMG company is moving in, sorry, just getting back a bit, so they can assault. And then first company is also ready to assault. And in amongst the middle of them is the HQ, so you can shout to his megaphone telling them to get back into the fight if they ever so dare to fail a counterattack if the Soviets the Germans get back in. But first of all, we have things to do. Oh, and don't forget, there's another battle going on over here. The second company is sweeping towards the side of these Stummels. So, all to fight for, shall we say. Okay, so let's do this. So the shooting, the important stuff happened here. The guys shooting up the arse didn't get anything. These guys on the ridge, though, managed to kill 2 of these Panzer IVs, and then these 3 shots from the 85 T-34s managed to get 3 hits. So that is Bale's, basically get a kill and got a Bale here. So basically these guys are going to go and kill him. He can't contest the objective anyway. It's a victory to Sherry, and she did not lose a single unit. Okay, so checked it. So that's 8-1 victory. So let's have a little look at the number crunching for the campaign. Okay then, so we've looked at the scores, and Sherry has won the campaign. It came very down to the wire. The score was in Sherry's favour, 24 points to 20, and basically Sherry needed a stunning victory to win the campaign, of which she did, because she lost no unit. Close to it in the end with the T-34s, but well fought, very aggressive final game, Sherry is.
Yeah.
A perfect army for you, the Soviets. Now I'll ask you both, who's your man of the match for this game, Sherry? One of the T-34s, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt about.
Which ones? Perhaps 75. 75 is the small barrels. They're the ones on the other side of the hill.
Yeah, they're pretty
Yeah, the
good.
75s. Nice,
They
snappy,
just have it there.
choppy. Richard, your man of the match?
Probably the Panzer IVs kept me in it for a little while.
Yeah, the thingy game.
Actually put me on the objective. But more importantly, the ones sent straight to the penal battalion are
Yeah, these guys never rallied from turn 1.
platoon 1, who never rallied from platoon from the first turn, were pinned down for 3 or 4 turns, and then one of them got blown up, and 2 of them died. So the remainder are going straight to the penal battalion.
And over the campaign, any man of the matches
Oh, I
for
can't
you,
remember.
Sherry? Well, I suppose it'll be a unit, like a type of unit in particular. Can you remember any? Or is it just like the shock rifle infantry?
Yeah, red shot rifle.
Richard?
Either the Hummels, either they let me down at a key moment today.
Yeah, the Stummels. Yeah, Stummels have been like quite solid. This we kind of cursed it because this is the first game where they really didn't do that much, which is a shame.
So either the Stummels in ambush or the armoured Panzer Grenadiers, because it's just useful to have that extra firepower, be able to call that extra firepower in.
Exactly. But yeah, who would have thought it would have ended like that, with the Soviets not breaking the line in the first game,
Yeah.
and then another solid victory for the Germans the game after, followed by a massive victory for their Soviets following a blunder by the regimental HQ shoving the tanks in against infantry, and then the bloody attrition of the German withdrawal, which saw them losing all their heavy guns, to the final game where we've just seen an aggressive onslaught by Soviet tanks, and the infantry barely able again, and they would have gone to assaults this turn.
Yeah, they did
But-
this turn anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, that is it really for it. So excellent campaign, really enjoyed it. As well, good for Sherry and Richard being newer players. They didn't have to worry about lists because their regimental officers supplied them, and I think they both learnt a little bit more about the game. Obviously, I'm not perfect at list building by no stretch, yet to grace a tournament yet, but no, this was really fun.
So they were reasonably balanced against each other. There were a few. I mean, there were a couple of games where you thought maybe a bit skewed, but usually you felt that either army could take on the other army.
Yeah, well, that game 3 where the tanks came in for the Germans, yes, it was a loss, but I think if the infantry were involved in that game as well, it would have been ropey for them here, because there might not have been enough, especially if Sherry had won that game. But I think that was the turning point for the Soviets. Winning that game the way they did in game 3 basically gave them the momentum and reinforcement points to keep the pressure on, because otherwise it would have just been really big struggle. But yeah, so I really enjoyed the campaign. Again, I'll put my email in the description below, so just email me and I'll send you over a copy. They do change quite regularly. Tom loves updating them, but this was very much a trial of the rules I came up with, and they seem to work quite well. If you think they need tweaking, just tweak them your side and just play them. There's basically, I'm adding a bit of spices to the recipe that is already Flames of War, just to how I like it, but if you like it as well, give it a go. And you'll join us again. We're going to do another campaign, probably start in a few months, and it's going to be El Alamein themed. And what we're going to run it as, we're going to run it with 2 regimental officers and 4 company commanders, so it'll be 2 company commanders each, so it'll be 6 games but over 3 rounds, so that means resources are going to be stretched over 2 battles, so that is really going to test the attrition rules, and I'm really looking forward to that. So until then, everyone stay safe, and yeah, really enjoy this, and hopefully you'll get to your gaming table soon as well. Okay, on a final note, to break Sherry's heart, I've done the maths wrong, and Richard actually won the campaign, very close, 22 points. Just checked it again. I don't know where I got that score from for the first time, so unfortunately going into this, Sherry couldn't win this campaign, but the 8-1 victory was a really good way to go out, but there we go. So sorry Sherry, I'm going to let her know now.